Welcome everyone to the Robert Gordon University webinar. I take it most of the people here have already gotten their offers to study with us or are looking to apply and are still trying to decide. So, well, first of all, congratulations to those offer holders. And I would say we're very much looking forward to welcoming you on campus soon. Just a quick introduction, just to introduce you to myself. I'm Aishat Adibusi. I'm International Officer for Africa here at RGU. I'm based here in Aberdeen, and my contact details are shown on the screen. So you're more than welcome to contact me anytime if you've got any questions relating to RGU, applying, or your offer or anything like that. I'm always happy to help. So just starting with a brief overview of RGU. Like I said to Alicia earlier, I will not be taking too much of your time. I'm not a big fan of death by PowerPoint, so I'll make it as quick as possible and leave plenty of time for questions and answers. So, but I'll just take you through a brief history of the university itself. As most of you would probably know, we refer to ourselves as a modern university, and that's because even though the name Robert Gordon has been around for a while, since 1729, we only were, awarded the university status in 1992. So any UK university that started post 1992 is referred to as a modern university. So 1992 is when we got our university status, and 2015 is when we merged both campuses. So we had one in the city center and one at Gatsby. So 2015, we merged both campuses to a single site. And in 2017, we were awarded the TEF Gold status, which is an award that's given to universities who have an excellence record in teaching. So again, most of you already have your offers. You've made that decision. You want to study at RGU. Some of you have a few offers here and there with other universities, and you're still deciding if RGU is the right choice for you. Well, here are some of our demographics. We've got a massive international community of students, about 1,200 students from over 140 countries from around the world. A massive alumni network as well, 90,000 plus alumni around the globe, and they're usually actively engaging with us. Scholarships available, we have over 300 plus courses, and if, in case most of you are not aware, RGU is located in Aberdeen, and Aberdeen is known to be the energy capital of Europe. So lots and lots of energy companies here. Some of you are coming to study oil and gas related courses, IT courses, engineering courses. Then you won't, you definitely have the opportunity to meet these, companies, go for job fairs, and hopefully get jobs with them. Again, rankings and achievements. Most of you already know this, but just to show you briefly what RGU is currently sitting at. Our most talked about ranking that we're really, really proud of, and we've been consistent over the years, is our graduate employability rate. So currently we're sitting at 46 in the world for graduate employability, and the percentage is 97.6%. So that means that 97.6% of our graduates move on to either further education or employment within 6 months of graduation. Again, the degree structure is pretty much similar to most UK universities, particularly Scottish universities. At Scotland, the undergraduate degree is usually 4 years, and that's because the first year we like to make sure that you get the hang of everything before moving into specializing in your choosing course from the second year going forward. And most of our master's courses are 1 year, but we've recently introduced a placement route for masters, which means that some of our master's courses now have 2 years, giving you 1 year work placement, which is paid. This is only available with the business-related courses, but we're hoping to extend this towards the other science and engineering courses in the near future. So that's just a brief overview of the degree structure and the university as a whole. Our campus, again, we're now a single-site university. It's situated just by the riverside, beautiful campus, and I'm not saying that because I work there or maybe that's where my office is or anything, but it is really beautiful. In the summer, students have access to all the nice spots on campus where they can have picnics, have mini get-togethers and stuff. So it's a beautiful place. Apart from you just going to study, there's nice serene environment for you to just chill if in between lectures. We've got roughly about 8 buildings on campus, massive buildings. As you can see on the screen, we've got one building that houses the engineering, sciences, health, and the built environment courses. One for health, we have the International College building, we've got the Union building and the Sport building, the business school, creative school, the law school, and then we've got the Gatti House Annex where the principal building is, and student recruitment and admissions are based as well. So where's Aberdeen? Some of you have been here before, some of you have family here, some of you have visited Scotland before. So I'll just say Aberdeen is in Scotland, which is part of the UK. It's located northeast, as you can see on the map. I know it looks really far away from Manchester, Birmingham, London, but it's not that far. I've made a few notes of the distance by plane, by car, by train. And I've also made a note of how far it is from Nairobi and Entebbe, Kigali and Dar es Salaam, depending on where you're flying from. So again, not too far. We have an international airport here in Aberdeen. So wherever you're flying from, you know that there's definitely a plane that will bring you straight to Aberdeen from London, Manchester, depending on the airline that you're flying with. I won't waste too much of your time on going through all the academic schools. We have about 11 academic schools at RGU, but it's just to show you a brief overview of what it looks like, what kind of schools we've got, and what the setting looks like. So I'm just going to run through the pictures real quick. The business school, we've got the School of Computing and Digital Media. That name has recently been changed to School of Computing only because it's now got a lot more courses and we don't want to restrict that to just what it shows on the screen there. School of Computing, we've got the Creative and Cultural Business School that has your international tourism courses, your hospitality courses, digital marketing and things like that. We've got the Engineering School, School of Art for the art lovers, fashion management, 3D development and all that. These courses are available within the Grace School of Art. School of Health Sciences, we've got the Law School, School of Nursing and Midwifery, Pharmacy and Life Sciences. And then we've got the School of the Scotland School of Architecture and Built Environment. So again, just a brief run through of the academic schools. If you'd like a bit more detail about what courses, if for those who are still looking to apply, haven't gotten their offer yet, my colleagues at UNISERV are more than happy to walk you through the different courses that we have under all the schools I've mentioned. So moving on, we'll talk about the tuition and scholarships available at RGU. Tuition really ranges from £13,670 to £16,770 per year for undergraduate courses. And for the postgraduate courses, as you can see on the screen, it ranges from £12,950 to £19,800. Now, we don't expect you to pay all of that in one go. And we're very flexible and usually have a payment plan that we offer to students once they've enrolled. So I'll go through that again really briefly towards the end of the presentation. Speaking of scholarships, so I know, I was once an international student myself. 8 years ago, I did my master's here at RGU. And my first question every time I spoke to any, university representative was, do you have any scholarships? Is there something, am I getting something back from this, massive amount I'm paying for fees and all that? So yeah, we do have scholarships available for international students. On the graduate courses, we've got two options from RGU. Now, this is RGU scholarships only. There's lots and lots of external scholarships that you can apply to on your own. But again, I can't give you information on all the external scholarships. I can only talk about the RGU one and then point you in the right direction for the external ones. So speaking of RGU scholarships, the undergraduate courses, we've got a merit-based scholarship that we offer to every international student that has been offered, that has been given an offer. This doesn't require a special application or anything. It's given to you automatically as long as you're a self-funded student. And that's £3,000 off your first year tuition. For undergraduate courses, also we have a Vice Chancellor's scholarship that we offer to one international student per year. I know that sounds like, there's loads of international students, but I always encourage students, you can be that one international student. Now, this scholarship is not based on your grades from school or, having all A's or anything. This just it just requires, in your application, you need to write a statement to say why you deserve this scholarship. And really, we're just looking for people that really, really need it because, finance, maybe they're short of finances, or, they've something has happened to them and they're not able, to afford the full 3-4 year tuition. So that's what they're looking for, really, for the Vice Chancellor Scholarship. So don't be afraid to say, oh, maybe I've not got all A's, I'm definitely not going to be chosen. Please apply if you feel that, you really, really deserve it and it will be helpful to you and your family. Moving on to the postgraduate courses, we've got the merit-based postgraduate scholarship. Again, this is offered automatically to self-funding students, applying to a master's or PhD course, and does not require a separate application. So it comes automatically in your offer once you've met the entry requirements. Yeah, and then the external scholarships. So amongst all the numerous number of scholarships available, the two ones that actually stand out, that apply to every single, African country is Chevening and British Council. So the Chevening scholarship, is open to international master's students, and it covers the full year tuition for 1 year. It covers your accommodation, living expenses, and things like that. And the British Council also have lots of information on other scholarships available to you. So you need to visit the British Council website and then choose your country to find out which ones you're eligible for. Like I said, there's scholarship opportunities out there. You just need to do a bit of research and find them. Now, moving on to student life. Again, this is a very important topic because many of you already have your offers and are just looking to see, what next really. So I'll just talk a little bit about, the cost of living. Aberdeen, there's this thing that, people think that Aberdeen is really expensive because it's, the energy capital of Europe and things like that. But I live here and I can say firsthand that it's not as expensive as people think. In fact, it's actually much cheaper than London, obviously, and, Manchester, even Manchester that is supposed to be cheap. Aberdeen, cost of living in Aberdeen is much cheaper than Manchester. So I've just done, a rough estimate of, some of the essential things that you'll be spending money on each month. And for one bed flat in the city center, you can see on the screen that in London, it's way over £1,000. In Manchester, it's just over £700. But in Aberdeen, you can get that for as low as £450 or even less. And then lunch, transportation, and other things as well. I've just done a rough estimate of what, it is currently. Obviously, these things change, with time, but at the moment, this is what it will cost you. And then the tuition fees for international students, like I mentioned earlier, ranges from 14,000 to roughly about 19,924, and that's for the MBA courses. Moving on to, again, more on cost of living. As you can see, accommodation in Aberdeen, 98 to 205 pounds per week, which kind of ties into what I said earlier for 450 pounds a month. Transport is, again, depending on where you're living. If you're living on campus, on university accommodation, then you won't have to worry about transport. If you're anything like me, if the weather's nice, you take a walk. Sometimes it takes you 20 minutes to walk from most areas in the city center to the campus. So again, that's an option for you. But if you do have to travel by bus, then it's roughly around £15 per week for the bus ticket for students. Eating out, cinema tickets, mobile phones are all essential things that you would, obviously spend money on. And as shown on the screen, it just gives a rough estimate of what you should expect to spend per week. And this will help you plan when you're arriving to know that, okay, this is what my budget is, and this is how I'd like to spend it. I always say to students, you can spend even way less than what I've shown you on the screen. It all depends on, you as a person. So if you like to eat out all the time, you don't want to cook yourself, then obviously you pay more. But if you cook yourself, you limit your cinema, visits to, maybe once every couple of months or something like that, then obviously you save a lot of money. So these are essential things, but aren't mandatory. So you don't have to, spend money on these things. Part-time work, again, very, very important. And, I always get lots and lots of questions around part-time work. Will I be allowed to work and things like that? Yes, you will be allowed to work. Your Tier 4 student visa allows a maximum of 20 hours of part-time work during term time. So now term time means when the university is in session. When the university is on holiday, if there's breaks, then you're allowed to work as much as you want. Obviously, we encourage students to make sure that they maintain their first priority as their studies, and then part-time work is a secondary kind of commitment. So don't bombard yourself with too many hours, even when the university is closed on holiday, because it might have impact on your research, your dissertation, and things like that. And then minimum wage as at this year is I've shown on screen. So if you're age 21 and over, then you get the standard, minimum rate, which is £8.72 per hour. And if you're between 18 to 20, then £6.45 an hour for workers, for part-time work. There's lots of part-time jobs available. There's jobs available in shops, bars, restaurants, supermarkets. But obviously, lots of students are coming in. Aberdeen is growing, so the competition is also growing. You also need a national insurance number to work legally in the UK. All these information is provided to you by the Student Help Point and the Career Center at the university once you've enrolled. So there's no need to write anything down or try and memorize all these things. There's a team dedicated to support you with applying to all these things here right on campus. Again, at RGU, we do not just want you to come to university, study, and get your degree and just leave you hanging. What we do is throughout your time at university and even beyond, because we offer this service to alumni as well, we try as much as possible to help you in your career journey. So we have a dedicated career and employability hub on campus, and this team helps students with access to online employability resources. They give you access to job search. They organize job fairs on campus. So that's for both part-time jobs and then full-time, professional jobs as well. They organize mock interviews and assessments for students. So you can just walk in and ask them to do a mock interview on you if you're ready. And they help you to build your CV and things like that. So they're very, very good. And I would encourage you, if you end up finding yourself at RGU on campus, please make good use of this team. They're very, very helpful. Again, in addition to the Career Center, we also have the Inclusion Center. So the Inclusion Center are a team of specialists who deal with anyone who's got disability, struggle with learning, any learning difficulties. They counsel students. So it's quite difficult, especially for maybe undergraduate students who are just leaving home for the first time. And it could get really lonely sometimes, especially in the first few weeks when you've not met friends. So this team are there to support you. They're there to counsel you. They'll talk to you about what kind of activities you can engage yourself in, just to keep you happy. We also have the chaplaincy team, and that's for the very religious folks out there. So they have a church on campus, they have mosque, they organize prayer sessions, they do hospital visits if you're not feeling well, if anything happens to you, so say bereavement or you get married and things like that, they're always there to support you. And then the Rest Life team. So this team all deal with student accommodation on campus. So they're there 24/7 to work with the accommodation team, and they're just there to provide support, cover, and care to students who live on the university in the university accommodation. And then in addition to those three that I've mentioned, we've got the student immigration team, and we've got a childcare, a nursery on campus that provide childcare services for some of our mature students coming with their kids. And then we also have the sport building, which is for those people who love to keep fit. I can't give you much information on RGU Sport because I'm not a fit farm person, but it's there for you if you like to do a lot of exercise, swimming, aerobics, gymnastics, and all of that. It's all available there. So moving on to accommodation, we've got this different options. So again, depending on your preference, we've got university-owned accommodation on campus and off campus. And the ones on campus are literally in Gadi campus, so just not too far from the principal's building. And then we've got some that are off campus, and some of these off campus ones some of them are just opposite the university, so outside the building, the compound, but literally opposite the university. And then some are in the city center. Some students prefer the city center because it gives them the opportunity to live life while studying, get a bit of balance with work and studying. Some students prefer to be on campus because they just want to literally get out of bed, have their bath, and get straight into class. So again, depending on your preference, there's something for you when it comes to accommodation. And as shown on the screen, you can see the distance to campus. Some of them you can walk to campus, some you have to come by bus, and also the prices as well per week. In addition to university-owned accommodation, we also have some privately built student accommodation. So these are student accommodation, but not owned by the university. And they're very similar to university-owned ones because it's only open to students, and it's self-catered apartments for 3 to 7 people. They've got en-suite options as well. So for those who do not want to share their, private rooms with anyone, that's the bathroom and kitchen, then they can always get en-suite rooms and apartments. They're all, again, all of this information is on our website, so feel free to go and have a look. And the accommodation team are also very, very friendly, very helpful. All you need to do is just drop them an email asking about anything related to accommodation, and they'll point you in the right direction. So entry requirements. So again, most of you already have your offers. Some of you are still looking to apply. So I'll just go through this real quick. All UK universities would require that you prove your English language proficiency if you're applying as an international student. So standard entry requirements when it comes to English language are shown on the screen. So we accept IELTS, academic, we accept PTE, we accept TOEFL. So it's not everything that's shown on screen, but these are like the most common ones. And we also accept the O-level English depending on the level of course that you're applying to. If you don't meet entry requirements straight into RGU, then we've got an international college and campus that also offer pathway programs into RGU. They have their own English language entry requirements, and that's as shown on the screen. So 5.5 IELTS for ICRGU for undergraduate courses, and 6.0 IELTS for postgraduate courses. So that's the pre-masters. Then general entry requirements into RGU for undergraduate courses, we expect that you have, A's, of course, but again, minimum requirements are shown on the screen. So depending on the course, 3 B's to 3 C's or a mixed combination of B's and C's is what we would, ideally want to see. We also accept IB diploma, and as shown on the screen, it could range from 32 to 24 points depending on your course. Year 2 entry is possible to some of our undergraduate courses. We call it advanced entry, and that's for students who have completed their A-levels or IB diploma with exceptional results. So these are the all A students, or maybe 30, if there's anything above 32 points kind of students. So yeah, year 2 entry is possible. So that means they are going to be doing their undergraduate course within 3 years. They've completed within 3 years as opposed to the standard 4-year undergraduate courses at Scotland. For postgraduates, again, ideally we expect you to have a minimum of 2nd class lower in your bachelor's degree. And again, the CGPA as shown on screen, again, that kind of varies. It depends on the country and the way the university grading system is. But 2nd class lower is like the most common term that most people are aware of. So minimum of 2nd class lower. We consider applications from people who have lower classifications. So if you've got a 3rd class, but you've got some work experience, and you can prove that yes, you know about the course you're applying to, you've got some experience, you've done maybe a few short courses, then we would consider such applications as well. If you're not able to meet the standard entry requirements to come straight into the RGU, then our college, again, based on campus, they offer pathway programs. So there's the international year 1 programs for undergraduate students who have completed O-levels, so the standard KCSE, UC, and the likes, then you can do a first year within the college and then move into second year within RGU. So it's not a foundation, it's a pathway, and it just means that you'll be doing the same courses as the standard first year students in RGU, but a few more modules just to get you up to speed, basically. So we call it International Year 1. And then for postgraduate applicants who do not meet the standard entry requirements to come into RGU, again, ICRGU offer pre-masters programs, and it's a 7-week program that that runs in the weeks prior to the intake. So, for example, if you're coming in, if you want to start in September, then you start your pre-masters in June, and upon successful completion, you join the master's cohort for September 2020 or 2021, as the case may be. So that's it about entry requirements. Moving on to application advice. Again, this is for people that are still considering applying to RGU. We want you to come in all the time. We want you to succeed. We want your application to be successful, but we need your help as well. So CVs, personal statements are very, very important when applying to not just RGU, but any UK university. So your CV is for the postgraduate students. So you're coming to do a PhD or a master's course. Your CV should be as detailed as possible. Try to explain any gaps in work experience or in studying as much as you can. The personal statement should also be give you the opportunity to tell us what you've been doing. We don't want to see your grades in your personal statement, and this applies to undergraduate and postgraduate applicants. We've already seen your certificates. We know what you've studied. We know, the outcome of your study. We want you to tell us about why you've chosen the course, why you've chosen to study at RGU, what your motivation is, and how you think that course is going to, have an impact on your career, long term. So this is the opportunity to blow our minds. So make good use of your CV and personal statements when submitting an application. And again, for those who are applying to health-related courses, so social work, dietetics, pharmacy, things like that, there's always an interview. So interviews, again, are all, in addition to the personal statements, are very, 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 very important. Because health-related courses have to do with life and death. So we want to make sure that you are, you're able to communicate clearly, confidently, as patients and things like that would always look up to you when it comes to that profession. So in your interview, the interviewers, which is usually the lecturers, depending on the course that you have applied to, would try as much as possible to make you feel comfortable. So it's usually an informal chat, really, but they call it interview just for the sake of it. And all they expect is for you to just communicate clearly. So my advice is just keep a stable and clear tone of voice. Sit upright, make eye contact with your interviewer, listen to them. Don't be afraid to ask them questions. So, and this also applies to those who will be applying to for their Tier 4 visas. Most countries, I think the standard application for Tier 4, you would need to do an interview. An interviewer will want to know why you want to study in the UK, why you think the course is going to have an impact on your career and things. So it's not just applying to RG or any UK universities. You would need to do interviews almost for the rest of your life, because when you graduate, you'll do interviews to get your jobs. And even before you come to RG, you'll need to do an interview to get your visa most times. So do not be afraid to ask the interviewer to repeat a question. It's better to ask for a question to be repeated than for you to just guess that, okay, maybe this is what they meant. No, ask them to repeat the question, apologize, and just ask them nicely to repeat the question so that you can understand. Use a positive body language, use your hands when you're talking, and practice, always practice. Don't think because, it's going to be a 5-minute presentation or 5-minute interview, sorry, just think, it's just, I'll just wing it or something. No, practice for as much as you can, for as long as you can, and that will help you kind of show confidence because you're already used to it and you've practiced a lot. So, and then keep calm throughout and smile from time to time, not all the time, because it might become a bit awkward if you're smiling when they're asking you a question or something. But when you're talking, just smile from time to time so that they know that it shows confidence as well. So again, that's just my little nuggets about interviews and applying generally. Applying to RGU is very simple and straightforward. It's even simplest if you go through UNICEF, because UNICEF are one of our trusted agents in East Africa, and they will help you from start to finish. So tell you about, you know, the best course to apply to, you know, looking at your background. They have, you know, able counselors who are able to guide you through the application, choosing a course, choosing a university, and also through the visa process as well. So I would recommend you use them as much as you can, free of charge. They don't charge you for the services, so use them. But again, there's other options, you know, of applying. And again, UNICEF always use these options to apply. So they apply for you on your behalf through UCAS, and they apply directly to us online, or they use our application form. So all the resources are available at UNICEF offices. So they've got offices in, Alicia, correct me if I'm wrong, I know you've got offices in Nairobi, Kigali, Dar es Salaam, you know, Kampala, and, you know, lots of other places. So please visit UNICEF website and find out the location of their office that's closest to you, and pay them a visit. And they'll be more than happy to help you throughout. So once you've applied, it's just, you know, pretty much similar to most UK universities. And so once your application is successful, you'll be issued with a conditional offer. So the conditional offer could come with just a mandatory deposit requirement. It could come with an English language condition. It could mean that maybe you need to submit a clearer copy of your degree certificate. Conditions vary for each applicant. So, but the most important part of the conditional offer is your deposit for your tuition. So there's a mandatory 34% deposit for tuition fee after any financial award has been applied. So once you've paid that deposit and you've met all the other terms on your offer, that's where your offer becomes unconditional. And then you move on to the CAS stage. So the CAS is a certificate of acceptance of studies that the university issues students, international students, to enable them apply for their visa. Without the CAS, you cannot apply for a Tier 4 visa. And in order to get a CAS at RGU, and I don't know, probably most other universities, you need to show a bank statement that, you know, so you've paid your deposit, but, you know, we need to see a bank statement showing that you've got the balance of your tuition plus maintenance funds available once you enroll. And again, if applicable, depending again on your country and if you've studied in the UK before or not, then you would also need to do a TB test. Once you've met all those requirements, if, you know, we've seen that you're able to afford the balance and your maintenance funds, then we'll also offer you the CAS that comes with an unconditional offer letter. And then that's when you go ahead and apply for your visa. When you enroll on campus, then that's when you will need to, you know, make arrangements to pay your tuition fee balance. So we've got two options available currently, and this is what has always been the case. But because of, you know, the current global pandemic that's, you know, caused a lot of disruption, and, you know, the university is obviously looking into, you know, more flexible options for students to pay their fees, you know, the balance of their fees when they resume on campus. But at the moment, and this has been, you know, pre-COVID-19, we've got option of paying in 2 installments. So for those of you who have a 34% deposit, but, you know, have maybe a bit more, want to pay off like 50% or more, then if you pay 50% by enrollment in September 2020, for example, then the remaining 50% will be expected roughly by February 2021. And if you pay bang on 34%, sorry, I made a mistake in the 3 installments part. It's 34% before enrollment, and then 3% in February, 33% in June. So that's 3 installment payments. So again, it's totally up to you. It depends on what's more convenient for you. And again, the university is working on more flexible payments that will be communicated to you within the next few weeks. Right, and that's it from me.